Damn, Ingenious made the beat. Another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I am, of course, your host, the Prince of Positivity, Coach Steve. Joined with me, as always, the Dime Dropper, Coach Luna. How we doing, Brody?
Blessed, man. Another good day, another Wednesday, another 10K Wednesday, just another opportunity to get on here and discuss, have a very good topic going on. And something I know that you brought up that I'm kind of like, huh,
Do a
uh,
curve.
it's definitely a curve.
Definitely a curve. Definitely
Definitely
a curve. Because, again, as we start off most of our podcasts, I always say the Prince of Positivity, right?
very much so.
Today, we're going in a different direction. We're going to talk about the dark sides of positive thinking.
Which is
Mm,
very interesting because I'm very big. If anybody's listening to this part, I'm huge on positive thinking. But
hmm
now that you mention it, there can be a downside to too much positivity. Tell me
Absolutely.
what can how is that possible?
So, first and foremost, when we talk about positivity, we've all know this person, a coach, a mentor, a friend, somebody that's like overly positive, right? Everything is positive. Like always look on the positive side, always look on the other side, always, 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 right? Do you feel like that person? Here's a question for you before we get deep into this topic. Do you feel like that person that thinks that positive is that person kind of out of touch with reality?
Mm. So I think it's predicated on who the person may be
Okay.
because some people are so overtly positive because of how negative things have been. And as a result, they know that when they were in this dark place where they're currently at and how they now have been thinking that got them out of that dark place
hmm
has been the new foundation for their new way of living and their new way of thinking. So therefore, that's how they operate. But then there's also some of those people that, in my opinion, I'm like, hey, bro, like we getting our ass whooped, 55 nothing in the third quarter. Like, what is there to be positive about? Like, are you not in touch with reality? Like, we're playing horrible on defense, and it's just in the sense of football, but things are not going well. Like, let's have
hmm
a perspective of reality here so that we can kind of assess a new strategy on how to get out of this mess because obviously we were positive before we came in and we're still maintaining this positivity, but they ain't stopping getting my brain beat in right now.
Right, right.
You
We
know what I'm
still taking
saying?
an L right now.
We still getting our ass whooped. So there's a disconnect here. And at that point sometimes I do feel like it's becoming outlandish and it's starting to become a little bit fake. And that's how sometimes it can get a little annoying sometimes because it's just like, hey, bro, like
Like,
get in touch with reality right here.
right. It almost feels like they have like they almost have a sense of like a denial, right? A denial of like the real issues that's going on at
Yeah,
that time, right?
yeah, real small, insignificant amount, but and it's like to cover something. Like you're afraid to face the true adversity, so therefore I got to mask it with this positivity and just say everything's gonna be all right. Like no, it's currently not. You know what I'm
So
saying?
so let's go to, and you took it to the football field. Um, let's take it to just grocery shopping.
Oh,
I heard this thing on Instagram, bro, and I was gonna post it in our chat, but I was like, no, I'm gonna hold this one because this is good for the pod. This is gonna be really good for the pod. But this lady was talking about like just having faith in God, right? Like overly having faith, unwavering faith in God that He gonna take care of something for you, right? So she has said that she just saw something, got super, pumped up about it, was positive, like, yeah, God got me today. God got me today. Which He got you every day, right? Every single day.
Every second, every minute.
You know it. So she finds herself at Aldi. And if anybody have ever been to an Aldi, you got to put a quarter inside the cart so you can get the cart, right? Well, she didn't have a quarter, so she can't get a cart. So she was like, you know what? Instead of sitting here trying to fumble around, trying to find a quarter, see if I can go in the store and break a dollar or something like that, I'm just gonna hope and pray that God got me. Because He got me, right? He got me all the time. He got me this, He gotta get me this time, right? So she said she was walking into Aldi and boom, there's a cart sitting there with a quarter in it right at the front door. God got me. God got me. But she stopped and she was like, that might not be mine. Somebody might be waiting on that cart, or somebody could be like somebody put that there. So I'm not that's not mine. That's not mine. So I'm gonna chill on that. But God got me. So short of the short, she ended up going in, and as soon as she turned around, some dude came right behind her, came right in behind her, picked up the cart, and started pushing. She gets her quarter and she starts shopping at the store. As she's shopping at the store, he's following her through damn near every aisle that she's going through. When she goes to check out, my man has a case of water and some knickknacks, like some snacks and whatnot, right? God got me. That entire time, like God literally gave her a cart and you prayed for it, you were positive, you stayed positive, and you got exactly what you were looking for. And what happened?
Ended up going to somebody else.
There's something to say about like you know, not always being positive. Like there was a situation where I would have been like, okay, if you were in that situation, coach, that's your cart.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it was my card because I've been praying for it, and there it was. I literally had this conversation with my wife, like last week, and I said, "What is it about people that have gone through so much like negativity, and when they start having positive thinking and all this other stuff, what is it about people that continuously believe that they're not worthy of blessings? Like, at what
Mm-hmm.
point? At what point do you reach a mental block to say, look, I've been praying all this time, but there's my answer. But no, I can't believe it's not for me. You know what I'm saying? At what point does it accumulate to where you can't accept that when your prayers are being answered, when the answer is literally right in front of you? I told her this about a job interview that she was kind of going through, and I said, sometimes God has a mysterious way of answering our prayers through the questions that
Mm-hmm.
we're asking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yep.
100%. And it had dawned on me when I just said that to her, like it was just word vomit. And it is always just and that same thought, like around the same conversation, I was just like, why do we feel like we pray for blessings, and then when blessings come, we say we're not adequate for it? We understand from a human aspect, we're not going to be able to fully comprehend
Mm-hmm.
blessings and the magnitude of what they can be.
Mm-hmm.
But if we don't think we're worthy of them, how are we going to ever sense a attitude of gratitude? You know what I'm saying? How can I be grateful for something if I don't even recognize that I'm supposed to be grateful for having these things? I don't even recognize my blessings. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I don't know, that part is always that I what the funny thing is, you're talking about that story. I remember seeing this on I want to say it was like on Instagram.
It was on Instagram. Yep.
Yeah, I seen
Mm-hmm.
this, and I was and ever since then, that probably subconsciously led to my thought process behind that. Like, you pray for it, it's there. Oh no, but it's not mine. Why?
Right.
Why it's not? Because you claiming it's not? It's clearly there and it's exactly what you asked for. What we waiting
Move
on?
on it. Move on it.
Man, I'm telling
Move
you,
on
bro.
it.
Telling you.
So that's again, that's one aspect of it, right? The other aspect of it is like we already talked about again, those individuals like they neglect like the real problems. Like that's just not a thing. Because if I talk about them not being a thing, they're gonna magically go away.
Fantasy law. Fantasy land. La la land.
Right. Exactly. That person sometimes those individuals sometimes tend to be they're not realistic. They have very unrealistic expectations and they're hardly ever prepared. Hardly ever prepared. They're always positive though. They're always positive. I am gonna butcher this man's name. Um
Don't spend too much time.
Usi Usi
Talking about the football player?
nope. He's a
Oh, I was about to say you manure, but if you don't let
nah.
just
Uh
go
Usi. We'll just say Usi.
cool.
Usi T. There we go. So I'll make sure to link it. There we go. We'll make sure to link his name. But he made a comment about um being perfect, like leaders, being in leadership and being perfect. And the person that's perfect, the person that's always positive, the person that's always, that person, right? He's like, I don't want that person on my team. That person doesn't have enough scars. In order for you to lead, you obviously need to know all of the, trials and tribulations that the people that are going to be behind you are going to go through because you're going to be in front of it. Again, if you're going through a car wash, you know exactly what you're going to see first, right? You're going through it first, right? So if you know what you're going, if you know the direction, right? You know what to be prepared for. You have a sense of reality. You have a sense of touch at this point. It's easier to lead the people behind you because now I can talk realism to you. I can still be positive. I can still give you all the positivity in the world, but I can still give you the realism behind the positivity. So that way you can at least see this is how I should handle those situations. I find too many times, especially I'll take it back to when I was coaching, when I was getting coached in high school. I had a coach that was super positive about everything. They didn't teach me shit about the game. It wasn't until I got a coach that they actually gave me the realism and a positive spin. Shout out Coach Harris. That's when I saw the game a little bit different. That's when I understood a little bit more. That's when I could start being positive about the game, but not be that guy in the fourth quarter when we get our ass whooped 63-0, saying, come on, guys, we can still do it. Bro, it is 2 minutes left.
See, I was the guy that at least, even if we getting our ass whooped, don't concede.
Correct. I'm not saying
At
concede.
least finish. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Finish these
Exactly.
4 quarters, finish these 0-0-0. The last thing that I'm gonna do is let a man take my manhood from me and let this man say that he completely defeated me and see that defeat in my eyes. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Are we gonna
Absolutely.
come back? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? We didn't
But it's
handle
not
business
about that at the end of the day.
exactly. At the end of the day, we gotta finish this, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think that if that's what you're preaching, that's the level of reality
Mm-hmm.
that you're talking about. Because you're looking at this as a hey, we getting our ass whooped, you losing this fight. You know what I'm saying? Like bloody nose, eye black, everything. But are you gonna just give in or you gonna fight back? You've been getting your ass whooped this whole at least fight back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Don't
You
just
said
sit there
finish.
and take it.
Absolutely.
Don't just sit there and take it, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's where I think the positivity with reality can
Mm-hmm.
play a good role. But the come on, we can come back. No, the hell we cannot.
No.
Like
Right.
No, it's a wrap.
Just be a realist at this point.
It's mathematically impossible. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But that also just comes with the failure of like you said, assessing the situation
Mm-hmm.
and let not letting you're trying to consume too much positivity without understanding it's the yin and the yang effect that we talk
Mm-hmm.
about all the time because
It's a
there's
balance.
it's a balance. You know what I'm saying? And communication and everything, there's a balance that is required there for whether good or bad for that, for the perfect response that you're looking for your team. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And whether you're in a leadership position or a follower, whatever the case may be, there's a balance there within that communication that needs to be addressed so that, we can get the core aspects of what we're trying to get done accomplished.
Mm-hmm. 100% agree with you. And you hit the nail on the head and you said a key word, balance. Balance. It's okay to be positive, but there needs to be a balance to your positivity. It's just like, again, it's okay to be negative, but it needs to be a balance to that negativity. Because again, it shouldn't be self, you know, you shouldn't be breaking yourself down at that point, right? So I'll give you another quick little story. I took my kids to the park one day, and my son is a tree climber. My man wants to climb every tree at every park just to climb the tree. And one of the limbs on the tree was a little weaker. This is one of the trees is like a little apple tree or some kind of weird tree. And he was jumping up and grabbing on the limb and everything, and it was bending and everything. He was like, "How's it gonna hold all this fruit?" And it's bending like this. Can't hold me up. And I was like, I want you to think about this, kid. Like, we just had a storm that just came through the area a little while ago. We had like five tornadoes that touched down in the area.
And that tree still here.
That tree is still here. Why is that tree still here? And he was like, well, I don't know. I was like, because it's able to bend. It's got branches that can bend. Some of the branches broke, exactly. But those branches that broke didn't have fruit on it. Branches that did that are still up there right now still got fruit on it.
Coach, I go even deeper. The roots, how deep those roots are in that tree.
It's not
You know what I'm
going
saying?
nowhere.
It's not it's
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 grounded.
burnt, stuck down there.
It's
Its
grounded in
roots are here.
reality.
Bingo.
It's grounded in reality. And it understands that although I'm grounded in reality, I still need to have some bend to me.
Mm-hmm.
I still need to have some of that positivity in me.
Yeah.
I can still be rooted here, but I still need to have that positivity. Sometimes, and again, when we talk about roots, again, we talk about that being that fixture, right? It's funny because positivity can sometimes cause complacency. Overwhelming positivity could immediately stop people from doing stuff. Because I'd rather be positive than actually put forth the effort and the work and to take care of something.
I think it can breed a sense of laziness because um, you think that your way of thinking can make things happen and that's solely all that needs to have to take place
Mm-hmm.
when in reality we all know that faith without works is what?
Worthless.
Dead. It's
Mm-hmm.
dead. It's lifeless. So I think there's a giant misunderstanding. I think step one of like this positive thinking is one, changing your mindset from negative to positive and having that ideas in the direction of positivity. I think that's like step one in fixing
Mm-hmm.
your mindset. But then with step two, it's the part that everyone struggles with, which is the behavior. The behavior part. I can literally talk about anything all day, bro. Doesn't
Consistencies.
matter. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. Once I go ahead and do it once, how many times can I be consistent with that to make that my discipline? Then that's what changes the true behavior, bro. I've seen so many people, so many friends, like it doesn't matter who it is. I've seen it too many times. I even seen it within myself. And then that's when I got fed up. I said, I got tired of talking the game. I got tired of talking the good talk. I got tired of talking about it. I can literally freaking word vomit and give you positive. I could talk positivity into you. I could tell you what to do for a workout. I could tell you how to do. I could tell you how to do all these things. But then I look at myself and I'm not, and there's no fruits on my tree. I'm not being the fruit of my tree. I'm not being that bendable tree.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I got good roots, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not bending in reality. You know what I'm saying? It's
So you telling
tornadoes
me
all
that
around me.
you telling me
And
that
my
your negativity is was your fuel essentially.
absolutely, I had to be because I had to start looking, bro. Like, let me see. Am I a fan of what I am seeing the fruits of my life right now? Am I a
Mhm.
fan of the relationships that I'm in? Am I a fan of my way of thinking? Am I a fan of the things and people and energies that I'm attracted? Am I a fan of all of these happenings to me? If I'm not a fan of a lot of these things, the only culprit is myself, nobody else. I can be positive in my thinking all I want. I've always stayed positive, but nothing changed for myself in any of the aspects that we talk about in my Trinity until I actually started. When I wanted to fix my spirit, I'm reading my Bible every day. When I wanted to fix my mental, I'm reading some type of material that's making me have to think
Mhm.
differently and see things differently every single day. I'm exercising every single day. I only take one day off, and that's the Sabbath. That's literally it. I'm working 6 out of 7 days,
Mhm.
period. No excuse. You know what I'm saying? And that's nothing to brag about.
To
There's
be the change.
literally, there's, if I want to see it, I got to be it. If I want to talk it, I got to live it, period. And there's no other way to do it. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
it's not a Superman effect. It's not a grand scheme of algebra that required. It's not alchemy. I'm not trying to turn coal into gold or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's literally just an accumulation of understanding that I am my culprit, I am my robber, I am my savior, I am the thief, I am the person that's going to be able to do these things. Of course, God Almighty has to say in everything. I'm not taking away from that. But again, we go back to the conversation about the Aldi. I'm asking for these blessings. I'm giving these resources, but yet I'm not using these resources. Sometimes my resources lead to my blessings, but
Right.
I'm not using my resources because I fail to realize that that's part of my blessing. That's going to
Right.
lead to my blessing. I'm thinking it's supposed to just come out to me on a silver platter.
Nope.
That's
You
not how
gotta
it works.
work. You gotta
That's not
work.
how it works.
You have
Not
to
how it works
work.
at all.
100%. You have to work. You got to put the work in. And it's funny because again, you just said, being honest with yourself, authenticity. Again, over your perceived positivity. When you
I
get
got to
to a
be a little,
point,
I got to be a little asshole to myself.
you- point exactly, exactly. When you start being authentic and start being honest about the struggles that you currently have, rather than hiding it behind some positive facade, that's when change starts happening. When you can start, motivating yourself, when you can start being an advocate for change, like literally see where your real issues are. Like everybody knows what your issues are. Like everybody knows what their particular issues are. Whether you want to admit it or not, you know what they are. You just
Yeah.
don't want to talk about them. This is the stuff that you got in the back of your head right now that you don't want to have those conversations with yourself on. And it's a reason you don't want to have those conversations, right? Because that requires work, that requires effort, that requires discipline, that requires consistency. Not a lot of us are willing to put that in, but we are willing to be positive and tell somebody else how to do it.
And like I said, because there's nothing wrong with being positive,
Mm-hmm.
nothing at all. But there is negativity behind it, like we talked about. That comfort zone is a dangerous place to be. The reason
Mm-hmm.
why it's so dangerous is because people get used to who you are within that comfort zone. So therefore, they always associate you with that comfort zone. So when you're not acting within that comfort zone anymore, you get looked at a little bit different. You get
Mm-hmm.
ostracized in a sense
You get
because
separated, right?
has to be a separation. There's a separation that naturally has to occur because I got to get me right. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with you as a friend, has nothing to do with you as a family member, has nothing to do with you in a relationship, has nothing to do with that at all. But I know when I get back into these spaces, the behaviors that I naturally gravitate back towards. And if I'm literally trying to say I'm trying to be better, okay, then I have to go ahead and associate what is hindering me. Do I have the mental toughness to go into this setting and say, man, I don't feel like drinking? So if you know you don't feel like drinking, but every time you go to this spot, you drink it, what is the one thing you can control? You know you struggle drinking, then don't go to the spot where you're gonna have to drink.
Why tempt yourself?
You know what I'm
Why tempt
saying?
yourself?
Put a tab on yourself. Like, no, I'm not. Why? Like, you just why tempt myself? You know what I'm saying? I just gave myself an excuse to go back into my comfort zone every single time. I'm trying to eat better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why are you taking your ass to wherever and getting this fried food? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you ordering this
Exactly.
2,500 calorie thing of pasta, then coming back home and smashing something else? Like, bro, like it doesn't make sense. You have to start taking inventory within your actions and what you
Mm-hmm.
are saying you want to get done. And if they're not matching, the only person, nobody, bro, we passed the age of trying to hold you accountable. Because we've tried to hold you accountable and you got mad when we tried to hold you accountable. I'm speaking to somebody. I don't
You
care.
speaking, you definitely speaking to
Oh yeah,
somebody. You
we
absolutely speaking to
tried. People
somebody.
have tried to hold you accountable for a lot of things. You shunned them. You called them an asshole. You called them this. You called them whatever you wanted to call them. Okay, but now
You're
you're
too
saying that
much.
nobody else. Yeah, now how many more other people have to come into your life, and you have to get rid of these people to realize that your problem is consistent, and there's only one consistency within your problem.
Common denominator.
There's a common denominator. And it is perfectly fine to say I'm not okay. There's something wrong with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do the work to fix it. It's
Absolutely.
perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with self-identifying the things I know I need to fix. It's like driving a car and you hear the engine clicking. You hear everything. The car is literally screaming, hey, something's wrong with me. And somebody else get in the car and say, hey, something wrong with your car, bro. I mean, get the hell out of my car, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't want to mess with you
Mm-hmm.
no more. There's literally people telling you something, and you know it too, but you don't want to say it. So now that
Right.
bill come, bam, car shuts down in the middle of I-10, and now you got to go ahead and put that $10,000 new engine, whatever the case may be. But if you would have tackled it back then, it probably could have just been a small muffler problem or whatever it is. Because you get the analogy I'm trying to go with.
And
There's
it's
plenty
funny,
of
absolutely, because it's again, I totally get the analogy you're going with because you can look at it for those who may have missed it, just look at it and again go back to what we talked about before. You've already gone through it. If you heard that noise in the beginning, when you get in somebody else's car and you hear that same exact noise, you've already identified the problem right away. You can immediately tell that it may not hey man, it's gonna cost you $800, but I know exactly what it is, and I know we can get fixed. And if you don't get it fixed, you're gonna have to get rid of this whole car, right? Like again, that real experience over the perceived, you know, experience. So I want to go back really quick to the adversity. Again, putting yourself through those adverse situations. Again, using that adversity to kind of fuel your own personal growth and your own resiliency. Um, there was a quote. I'm definitely gonna botch this one. That says something like, "Significant growth and resilience comes from overcoming adversity." But leaders who have faced challenges and um, has faced challenges and learn from them usually are better equipped to handle future difficulties. That's another one of those uh Oose's quotes that he had said. When we talk about using that that adversity, using that more as fuel. Oftentimes, and I've seen this with coworkers, I've seen this with players, I've seen this with a lot of people where they don't necessarily use that as fuel. They kind of use it as like, oh, poor me. Again, that's the negative, the double negative side of it, right? Like the poor me side of it. Like you're not using it as fuel enough for yourself. You've identified it, but you're not using it as fuel for yourself. Again, like you said before, people have called these things out. People have told you about these things, or you've identified those things. It's again, something's got to click. Something's got to click. Something's got to start getting to a point where like you get it. And you started talking about the circle. So that friend circle, like cutting away those people from that circle. Again, I'm gonna go back to Instagram. I need to spend a lot of time on Instagram. I need to take a social media dump day. Um, but I saw this other meme that talked about your circle of friends and how your circle of friends could be, they should be able to move with you. You in the middle of this circle, they should be able to, migrate with you. If you have the right people in that circle, they will be able to move with you because they'll be able to elevate or move around wherever you need to move around to make it comfortable for you as well as them. But if you got the wrong people in your circle, it isn't a circle anymore. It's a cage. Now you stuck. Now, no matter where you try to go, where you try to get to, you can't get there because you trapped around the same group of individuals that have that same mindset. Now, again, those people are really rooted in reality because they're never going to take a risk. They're never going to move. They're never going to do anything different. So they're rooted there. But if you are looking to grow, it's time to get out the circle. It's time to cut your way out of these circles.
Yeah, and I'll say, I you don't have to completely get rid of these people.
No.
You don't. But there's some toxicity within what you may have going with this person that's literally keeping you at a place where you cannot move. You
Mm-hmm.
literally have gotten consumed with your identity is now attached to this person. Hmm. Now there's maybe reason why you need to go ahead and you know what I'm saying, do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to that, what you were saying, Coach, there's power when a group of people can get together and move in one accord to a certain purpose. I mean, because let's just look at it in this analogy. There's a beauty when we watch halftime shows in college, and you go and watch those bands, and those bands
Mm-hmm.
are don't quote me. I would say at least maybe 100 people, and they are
It's an
all moving
army.
in unison. But there's certain roles that have this purpose, this purpose, this purpose, this purpose, and they all mesh together to make this one perfect picture and one perfect sound. One band, one
One band,
sound.
one sound. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where your circle can actually be beneficial and can be good.
Mm-hmm.
And, I almost kind of tend to believe in the domino effect. I do think that there can be that one that can step out and start doing the things correctly. And that can actually maybe start the domino effect within their friends. Slowly
Totally
but
agreed.
surely.
Totally
Slowly,
agreed.
even in the sense of family. I'm not a person that believes in always throwing a lifesaver, but I'm damn sure not
Mm-hmm.
finna. I'm not gonna turn the boat on and leave your ass down. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? I'm
Exactly.
not. I'm neither one of those. But I damn sure need to see you trying to fucking save yourself.
I need to see
I
you
do need
working.
to
I
see
need to see
that.
you working. I need to see you try to
I
work.
need to see that this person is struggling and they're asking for help. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Using that as an analogy again to understand, like, hey, I'm now on this boat and I was that person, and I asked for help, and I realized that that lifesaver wasn't going to get thrown at me until I said, "Hey, I got to learn how to swim a little bit." The
Hmm.
lifesaver's there, but I'm way over here. I gotta try to get there. Then I can go ahead and this lifesaver will do what it needs to do. But I need to get to that lifesaver first.
Right. You know what's helped me in with that same type of mindset? What's really helped me is starting to really truly understand people, like really dissecting people. And we did this really cool test at work, and it it pinpoint every person in the company and kind of gave them a bird. So like you were one of four birds. It's called a DISC personality test. I don't know, you probably took something like that before, but they didn't associate it with birds. But for whatever reason, our company, associated it with birds. And there were four types of people. There's a dove, an owl, a parrot, and an eagle. So when you talk about a dove, what is a dove? What is dove strengths? They're
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 everywhere.
friendly, they're calm, they're
Yeah.
they're they're gentle by nature. They're usually very empathetic, they're very supportive. Um, but they probably are not going to be very assertive. They probably are not gonna, they're gonna, in order to avoid confrontation, they will leave a situation, they will get away from a situation. They don't want no smoke.
They're non-combative.
Exactly. 100%. An owl, what's an owl's trait? They were very
That's,
analytical.
yeah, they sleep during the day and do everything at night.
They're nocturnal, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
detail oriented. They're very wise. That's the myth about owls, right? They're very wise, right?
Yeah.
Um, so these are the critical thinkers, right? These are the strategic guys. Like they're the planners, they're the problem solvers. They're the guys that you can rely on that they like get things done.
The night watchers.
Exactly. But they also might struggle with making decisions because they overthink. They
Okay.
got a lot of information, a whole lot of information. So it makes them sometimes very hard for them to make a decision because they have too much information. It's like information overload, right? I'm sorry, a parrot, um, very communicative, right? What do you hear about parrots?
They mimic.
They mimic, they chatty, right? They're just extroverts. They enjoy just being with people and just talking to people. Very creative, right? They're probably one of the most creative birds of the bird kingdom, right?
I think I know
Uh,
what.
you know where we going. But parrots again, they're they're really involved in communication. They're really creative. Got a lot of energy, and they're really good at inspiring people. But they also suffer from sometimes lack of detail and can get easily distracted because sometimes it's about the fun as opposed to about the work. And then you have the eagle, right? This person is like the visionary. They see everything. They're very decisive. They make a decision. That's that's the decision. They're leaders. They're natural born leaders. They they will stand out in any situation. But they have a very domineering personality. Sometimes it's hard to get through to those individuals. So when you try to talk to those individuals, sometimes it's like talking to a wall. They're not trying to hear it because they've already fixated and focused on what they want and what they need. So when we did that test and everyone was kind of like, talking about their birds and everything, and everybody looking at it from like the bird, perspective, right? This also gave me an idea of how positive or negative this person was also, because that parrot probably talks too much because that's how they calm themselves. This is calming for them, just talking a whole lot, because if I can just keep talking, nobody's going to notice how nervous I really am. you can find those individuals right away. Or you find those individuals that again just like talking, just like building relationships and building rapport with people. Again, you able to spot those people right away just by, when you're walking around the office and you see everybody's bird that was on their desk, it helps you communicate with them a little bit better. But you also got a chance to see, like I said, like how positive that particular person was. This was very few Eagles in our billing department. Why?
This is burning through me right now with
Yep.
your that analogy. The beauty of all that, imagine if each one talked to each other and had a respect and rapport for each other, and how one could teach one how to listen, one instead of talking so much. The one that didn't talk learn from the one that does talk a lot. The one that
Hmm.
is undecisive learn from the one that makes decisions quickly, and so
Hmm.
on and so forth. If they were willing to collaborate and, this is my part, this is what I'm good at, but this is also where I struggle.
Right.
Oh, so and so over there, they're good at this and they struggle at this. I happen to be good at their struggle. You know what I'm saying? I think that that collectivity within skills and, abilities,
Hmm.
um, and exploiting those things and being like, hey, I'm good at this. I'm not so well at this.
Hmm.
And live within that. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I always use analogies when it comes to sports a lot because that's where that's where I'm from. But
Hmm.
nobody, when we're born, bro, we're not 99 overall and everything. You get what I'm saying? Like we
You got
might
some
we even
deficiencies.
yeah, even when we create our players and we go through everything, it's very hard to get the 99 overall and everything unless you got like a cheat code or whatever it is, however it is nowadays.
Yep.
My point is, there's always going to be an area where we're going to always have to improve. You know what I'm saying? And within that, knowing that, I have to be willing to go ahead and say, man, Steve is really good at these things. So therefore, I'm going to lean on Steve for me to get better there. I'm not going to depend on Steve to do those
Right.
things for me, but I'm going to lean on his way of doing those things so that I can go ahead and start becoming my own self efficient way of, hey, he does it this way and it works. I tried it and it works for me. So therefore, I'm going to do it. I may
Hmm.
have to bastardize it a little bit so that it works for me within the realms of how I do things. But hey, at least he gave me a jump start.
I got a
And
blueprint.
versa. He gave me a blueprint and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I think too many times, bro, we think about hitching ourselves to a wagon, and then after that, we just think that all right, the horse got to go. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If anybody's ever rode horses, you know what I'm saying. You got to kick, you got to tell it where to go, you got to pull the thing this way or that way. You get on the
There's more
horse,
work that's required.
it's just going. If you get on that horse and you jump on that thing bareback, that thing is not moving, and might buck your ass and throw your ass off.
You definitely gonna be on the ground.
But you get what I'm saying.
Right.
There's an accordance that has to do with hitching your wagon and all of this. There's something that there's requirements that have to get done. And
Hmm.
we live in a lottery world. You know what I'm saying? We live in a sense where
Hmm.
we're finding the quickest way and wanting to identify with the quickest way. I explained this to one of my homeboys about the stock market. And I had to tell him here because he was like, "Bro, Nvidia down like 300, Nvidia down like 17% in like the last week." I said, "Okay, it's also up like 200% within the last year. So technically, it still could go a long way down. Do you believe in the company or not? If you believe it, stay the course." And then boom,
There
what
you
did it do
go.
today? Had a 10% update. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a small example of like what the delayed gratification, especially when it comes to the stock market. I'm a big believer in the stock market when it comes to teaching um, qualities within yourself.
Hmm.
Because if you are okay with waking up one day seeing your portfolio up maybe like $600-700, but then you're mad as hell when it's down $600 or $700, you got to be able to handle the ups and the downs, and you got to be able to handle those the same exact way. How do you handle those down days? Are you going to sell on the down day? Because if you sell on the down day, no more profit from there. The money that you could have made that $600, $700 right back the very next day. But since you sold those shares when it went down, now you can only maybe make $200 the next day. And it had the same exact percentage it went down. It's the same exact percentage it went up, but you sold. You got scared. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge life lesson within that. Because that brings me to a quote that I read, and I posted this on my Instagram today. It said, do not get addicted to escaping. Face your crap, handle your business, and triumph. No battle is ever won by people who run. No battle has ever been won by people who run. You can't, you're not going to be able to.
You're never going to win.
Eventually, I got to understand that the demon that I'm running from is myself. That thing, that continuous feeling of emptiness, that continuous feeling of whatever the case may be, I'm the source of it. You know what I'm saying? You weren't created as a source of emptiness. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that eventually I feel empty, but you're still here. So therefore, you're not empty. You know what I'm saying? You still have the ability to think. You still have resources. You still have a lot of these things that you're just not identifying that can lead to whatever it is that you may be seeking. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that everyone has keys, and there's 1,000 million doors.
Yep.
But coach, I have the keys. Do I want to try every single one of these doors? Okay. I have the keys, and I know one of these keys are going to work for one of these doors. I just got to go ahead and figure out which one it is. Am I willing to try those keys? Well, I'm going to just sit here and be very meticulous and think, okay, well, this key is about this size and that keyhole is about that size. So it can't be this key. So I spend all that time on one door when I could just use that one key, go through every single door. Nope, not that one. Okay, next key, go through every single one. Try it. Eventually that door gonna open. Eventually one of those doors is gonna open.
But you just gotta be willing to put that work in.
You gotta do it, bro. Plain and simple. You know, and like I said, I hate to feel and sound like I'm being redundant, but I feel like a lot of people are not understanding the concept of you stuck because of you. You know what I'm saying? It's quicksand. It's the quicksand effect.
Yep. Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror. You can take a long, hard look in the mirror sometimes. You will find the answer to most problems.
But you know, it's baffling to me the mindset that people have when it comes to saying these things about wanting to change. And I always hear it's like people just want to regurgitate it to me, and I'm like, man, that's all fine and dandy, but what are you doing? What are you doing? Your schedule does not lie. I want to lose all this weight. Okay, but you, boom. That's
like, what are we doing? That
equation does not equal that. You know what I'm saying? 2 + 1 = 3. Not 2 + 1 = 300. We got to be extremely literal because your concept and your way of thinking has led you to the place that you are right now. And your brain is going to be fixated on the state that it has always been fixated upon. I have to flip my brain. I have to turn my nose into yeses and my yeses is the nose. I have to flip. I have to go ahead and I have to wake up and I got to brush my teeth with my left hand. You know what I'm saying? I usually close the door with my right hand and lock the door with my right hand. I got to do it with my left today.
You have to get to a point.
This way to go to work, I got to take this way to go to work. I got to change something. I got to change the monotony. The brain seeks it and yearns for it.
You have to get to a point, coach, where there is no other option. I think that's where I think a lot of people get stuck, is where we have an understanding of there being multiple options. If you give yourself multiple options, the human in you is going to choose the easier of the two because of the instant gratification that we are now used to having, even more so now than ever. Don't give yourself the other option. There is no other option. It is only the hard road. If you look at it like that, if you only look at it that way, everything else will become very easy at that point. Now, again, hear what I'm saying. Again, if it's an easy decision that needs to be made, then make the easy decision that needs to be made.
If the
Okay.
25 cents is in that cart and you ask for it and it's there,
Take the damn
you
cart.
take the damn cart.
Take the cart. But again, if it's one of those situations where I could take this pill or I can go work out, go work out,
You don't
go work
understand.
out.
There's the side effects. This is going. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but the easiest answer: that pill is just going to fix a look. It's not going to change the effect that exercise has on the brain. It's not going to change the dopamine, the serotonin, whatever the case may be, that's brought up while you're working out. Your
Hmm.
testosterone levels, if you're a male, it's not going to bring those up. It's just going to give you a physical figure. And if
Right.
that's all you're seeking, and you're only validating your perception of health based off of how things look, I mean, you got another barrier to go and tackle. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because it's way bigger than that. Like that's just an offset of discipline with how you're eating and things like that. But you have to understand the health implications with my liver function, my kidney function, my heart function, my
Take into
skin.
account all the stuff
I
that could
have to
potentially go wrong.
if I do not do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand that me going into the gym, and I was this person at one time, me going into the gym, and as soon as I break a sweat, hey, that was a good day. No, 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 no. That's just the beginning. I'm just now starting. You know what I'm saying? There's no good when unless you're doing hit workouts, there's no good workout being
Hmm.
done under 45 minutes. Not with the way that 90% of people work out in the gym. There's no way. Like unless you know exactly what you're doing and you know
And you in
exactly
and
how to
out.
move,
Right.
you know your time reps, you know how many reps to do, you know how much time in between sets,
That
and
requires consistency and
that
discipline. And
100%. Unless you're doing it like that, or you're running for 45 minutes straight.
right,
And
that's different. Right.
beg, I beg that I don't know a lot of people that can just hop up and go run 45 minutes straight. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of people that can do that.
Hmm.
So that one's off the table. So you gotta find find your rhythm. Find what it is that you want to do. But you gotta
It's
do it.
you know what's the funny part is too, coach, and we're at a disadvantage. I'm sorry. We are at an advantage.
Hit me.
Most athletes are usually at an advantage because athletes more times than not can use that negativity, their any negative emotion, whether it be losing the game, not making, they PR, um, you know, not making weight, whatever the case may be, they can use that negative motivation, that negative emotion as motivation for to be resilient, right? They can use the fear of failure. They can use that frustration to enhance their efforts. Most athletes, that's innate in a lot of athletes, period. People that, have that type of mindset. For people that aren't athletic, who people that don't have that athletic switch where that fear of failure for them. Now again, they may have it in a different sense where, right, it may be it may be school, it may be work, it may be something else for them. I and just again, just my personal opinion, I feel that people that play a sport or play sports have it deeper and are able to use a lot of their negativity as positive fuel to move things forward.
They can. But I
Hmm.
also know people that maybe didn't play in athletics and
Absolutely.
understand the benefits of the results, whether you're a female and you looking to get, a mega stallion type body or whatever, You
Hmm.
don't have to make that your goal once you understand that, hey, this is actually very good for my mental health. You know what I'm saying? And this has helped me in this area. And now my relationship with whether it be or your significant other, family, I feel better. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I can handle my work schedule, my crazy work environment. I can handle that a lot better because I'm pouring back into myself with, taking care of business with my physical health, and
Hmm.
it's paying dividends mentally. And if it's doing that, then I can handle my job and do my job a lot better. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So that's an easy little nugget for people to understand. Like, there's an association with performance in any area that you do based off of how you're physically well able to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just a proven fact.
Absolutely. And again, I don't want to say that it's only people that are athletic, right? There are
Yes,
other people that
you
have
tend to
have
have
that
a
in them. Exactly.
better innate. Yes, I agree.
It's just so again, it's just something about an athlete that just has that in them. Now, again, you've seen it too as a coach. I've seen it as a coach. There are those players that we have that they don't have that, right? But that's usually the one off. This kid is just here because dad wanted him to play or mom wanted him to play or he just needed something
Yeah,
to do. Like like he's not really in the sport the way that most of the kids are in the sport. So yes, it does get to a point where like again, you can use that negativity to, as that actual fuel for yourself. And obviously rooted in realism, right?
yeah. That coddling effect for those kids that kind of struggle to be able to do that. That coddling effect is dangerous, coach.
It
Um,
definitely is.
because we tend to, especially if you're a person that was coddled, you associate that with a way of dealing with adversity. So
Hmm.
you do the same thing innately, subconsciously. You do the same thing to anyone that goes through some type of adversity. And the problem with that is, it goes back to how we started this topic. There's no reality in there. It's gonna be okay. It's all right. Blah blah. The whole participation trophies and all that, because that is breeding. And I get it. I understand. You want everybody to be
It's the over
recognized.
positive, right?
Yeah, but that's being over positive. That's not sticking to
Hmm.
reality. You know what I'm saying? That's like the giving the freaking fifth string guy at USC the same recognition as Reggie Bush. Like, let's be real. He ain't do what Reggie Bush did.
Not at all.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
barely
He
saw the field.
barely saw the field. Like, we're not on the same level. You know what I'm saying? And that's perfectly fine. We can all have
Hmm.
the same common goal and all this other stuff, but that Colin effect, coach, it's dangerous. It's
That positive again, having the positive mindset of again, you failed. I think that right there, that's a hard one for a lot of people. Right there, you failed.
I failed, but I'm not done. I failed and
There
I
it
have an
is.
opportunity to fix it. Like, so that's,
There it is.
and we talked about this before, coach. I'm big on this. Like, it's like we act as if we're walking around with a grade in everything that we do.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So those of us that went through grade school and were those F students, D students, C, whatever the case may be, if you were a person that you know um,
It's meets
cried,
and not meets now, coach. Just
yeah, like
FYI.
if I did not meet the standard and all
Right.
this other stuff, like I broke down in tears and all this other stuff, it becomes an unhealthy way of learning how to deal with how to cope with certain things.
Hmm.
So it's something that we gotta this, because when it all comes down to it, it's authenticity. Be real. Keep it real with your kids. Keep it real with these kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you straight up, I am a coach at the middle school level. I am not gonna lie to these kids. I'm gonna tell them when they're wrong. I'm gonna correct them, and we are going to do things correctly. And there's gonna be consequences when we don't. That
And
is
there's
life. That
and
is
there's going to
reality.
be a Karen that's going to say that you're too tough on my kid because we don't talk to them like that or we don't,
And Coach, to each his own how they handle their own household.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I'm to each one to teach one. I believe that as well. So I know what it's like to be a male in this society. And I know what a fragile male, a kid, I know what that can lead to. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen it within our society today. And
Mm-hmm.
as long as I am a voice in someone's life, I'm not going to let that be something that is okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
we're going to work on
Absolutely.
it. We're going to work on it. I'm going to teach you how to look someone in the eye when you're talking to them. I'm going to teach you to not look away. I'm going to teach you
Mm-hmm.
to have a big chest. I'm going to teach you
Have
to
a
be
common
proud.
respect.
I'm going to teach you about the common foundations of the things that if you can learn them and be firm in them at this age, you're going to be almost unstoppable
Life gonna
as
be
a
so much
man,
easier.
as a
Exactly.
man when you get older, when you become a husband, when you become a good friend, when you become a, whatever your role may be,
You
you are going
know,
to have those foundations that's
you know
going to build.
what's you know what's cool about that, coach? There's times where you can have conversations with somebody and you can immediately, as you having that conversation with somebody, you can be like, yeah, I know. Like we on the same wavelength. Like
Right.
I know immediately just based on how you presented yourself, how you carry yourself, your and your just your aura, your general mindset, right? You can pick that up
100%.
immediately. But you can also pick up those same individuals that like again, they're gonna be the life suckers of the room. Like
Energy
you gonna suck,
vampires is what they used to
right?
be.
Social vampires, bro. Just you finna be in here just sucking all the life out of the room because it's nothing but negativity, right? It's nothing but negativity. Now, like I said earlier in the pod when we talked about this, those individuals sometimes usually have it right. Not saying that you need to have a negative connotation, but sometimes again, like I said, those individuals are usually prepared a little bit more because they're the ones going through to make the checklist to make sure that all these things are taken care of. Those are the usually the eagles. I'm sorry, the owls. Very analytical, they very detail oriented. Those again, guarded, very guarded. And you can be guarded for a number of reasons because again, you could have been broken at one point in time. You could have had any other stress or trauma, at an early age, whatever the case may be many forms of being broken. But those individuals are usually guarded. And again, when they're usually guarded, again, those are the ones that are very rooted in reality. So they don't tend to have the same problems as other individuals that may have this very unauthentic Jesus.
I know what you're saying.
You know
Unauthentic,
what I'm
coach.
trying to say, right?
Unauthentic.
um, opinion about themselves where, it's not real. It's not real. They living in this false sense of reality. Coach, how do we get better?
Hmm. I mean, again, coach, I ain't trying to beat a dead horse, but you just got to be real with yourself. Um, you gotta be comfortable with the idea that um, again, I don't want to use that word comfortable right there. You gotta accept the idea that um, if there's a perceived problem, then or something that I feel innate within myself that's telling me I need to be better in these areas, I need to do it immediately. It's not a something that I can put on the back burner. You know what I'm saying? If I feel like I need to go to church this weekend, I need to go to church. But it's not when you understand that feeling that you get. Here it is, coach. When you feel that feeling that you get, it's not supposed to be a
Mhm.
one-off thing. That's your call to say, hey, this is the area that you need to go ahead and develop. This
Right.
is the you need to go ahead and be more disciplined. And when you go ahead and start building that consistency, a lot of the things that you were trying to get rid of or trying to disassociate from naturally just starts happening. The work already starts being done on the back end for you. It's being done in the background for you. I can't, bro. There's so many things that I've like tried to pray about, meditate about, and all these other things that I've done before, and I could do it for a small amount of time. And
Mm-hmm.
then now that I'm focused and I'm filling my time with things that are, if I need to do this every single day, I need to do this every single day, I need to do this every single day, I need to do this every single day. If I'm doing these things every single day, it's almost mathematically impossible for me to dive back into whatever those other things.
Anything else that you're trying to get away from, right?
I literally can't. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? My workouts may last an hour and a half. Okay,
Yep.
me reading and I'm trying to read 20, 30 pages a day, that may take, depending on how fast of a reader you are, that could take you 30 minutes to an hour. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Boom, that's 2.5 hours right there. I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to eat good. Okay, well, that takes preparation and that takes all the grocery shopping. There goes another hour, hour and a
Mm-hmm.
half. Okay, and then I got to prioritize my sleep. I need 6 to 8. So then, boom, I gotta go to bed. So that's already about 6 to 7 hours accumulation right there. Okay, I got to read my Bible. Okay, what's your goal every single day? If you want to read the Bible in 365 days, boom, there's a way to do that within the Bible app. Okay,
Absolutely.
their minimum, the fastest will go 15 minutes. Sometimes they're gonna last 20, 25. So there you go. That's 6 hours and 15 minutes right there of
That
doing stuff
outside of an 8 hour workday.
outside of
And
an eight
that's
hour,
not including
and that's
travel.
not including and we still haven't even talked about the 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Exactly. Exactly. That's not even, we
There's
ain't even got to
literally
that point.
there's literally not enough time to do anything else. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have, I can't.
But that
If
takes a discipline
uh,
though.
I am prioritizing what I'm trying to prioritize, then be real with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing what I said I'm supposed to be doing. I want to improve I want to improve my relationships. I want to improve my blah, 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 blah. Okay. I got to start with me. I got to start with the relationship for myself. My relationship with me sucks. How many times have I broke my heart? How many
Right.
times have I made my wrong decisions? How many
Mm-hmm.
times has the ball been in my court and I fumbled? How many times did I go ahead and literally mess this up? You know what I'm saying? How many times am I going to take accountability for me being the common denominator?
That's
Until
why I had asked the question, like how do we grow, coach? And again, you taking self accountability and
self
taking,
inventory.
yeah, you taking self inventory. The other way that we grow again is that constructive criticism is getting and acknowledging and accepting that constructive criticism and accepting that negative feedback that everybody says this is all negative feedback because constructive criticism is just negative, right? It's always negative. It never helps. No, it always helps. It always helps because it helps you grow professionally and personally.
You know,
Because,
that goes back to that first podcast we had. And I
mm-hmm,
know, and I told you guys that my biggest thing growing up has always been learning how to accept compliments
mm-hmm,
because I have always felt like I've always came with my back against the wall. Like I'm fighting. For me, I always felt like I'm fighting off the ropes. You know what I'm saying?
right,
I'm in the corner and I got a rope a dope counter just to move and get back into the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like
mm-hmm,
that's the mentality that I've always had for myself. You know what I'm saying? It's never good enough. And some people say it may be good. Some people say it may be bad. The positive, negative. I always say, look, I always would rather be the person that's pushing myself than having to rely on someone else to tell me to whether to glorify
to
me or to
push.
down talk me to make me have to do what I need to do. I need to be able to self start and I need to be my hardest critic,
Yep.
my hardest critic. Because if I'm always hearing positivity and I feel, then this is how I've always perceived it. If I feel that positivity and I'm literally consumed with it, I no longer feel that need to continue to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Being
God, man,
fed, you're being overwatered at that point.
yeah. Like and I'm perfectly fine with receiving the compliments, but I've learned that to me that okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's just That's just the accumulation of people seeing my work, but I still got things I want to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I appreciate the compliment, but I'm still going. Whether like that, it has no bearing on your compliment on me. But I know for myself, that's just like, all right, hey, that ain't it, bro. Keep going.
And you
That ain't it.
know,
Keep going.
go back to the tree, bro. Go back to the tree. You get sunlight and water for free.
Mm.
You get sunlight and water for free. You got to put the work in underneath to keep the roots growing.
Keep reaching.
You got to keep reaching. Coach, go ahead and recap us.
Man. All right. Um, Face the music, be real with yourself. Um, you know, uh learn to if you've always been a person that like you kind of massage yourself. You're a little bit too full of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But in that back of your mind, you know that there are areas that you literally suck at. Let's keep it a buck, because that's how I need you to perceive the way you need to probably start telling yourself certain things. Like,
Right.
hey, your routine sucks when it comes to working out. Your habits suck when it comes to eating. And you telling yourself this.
Call a spade a
Because
spade.
every time that someone else had said those exact same things to you, you took a defense to it. So maybe if you tell yourself these things, maybe you looking at yourself telling you these things, maybe that can spark the change that you need to understand. Because plenty of people have tried to push you. You responded negatively every single time. You know what I'm saying? And now you're seeking validation in certain different areas and areas that you're doing. Like, look, I'm trying. I'm trying. Okay, go more, go
Right.
harder. You know what I'm saying? You're plateauing. Okay, then plateauing is literally just an accumulation of saying that, hey, I haven't been pushing myself. Because if you're
Yep.
doing consistent work, there's no reason why you should be plateauing. You're only plateauing because you're still fluttering within the same, doing the same amount. Okay, but if you're being consistent, you should be able to do the same amount in less time
Mm-hmm.
or more amount. And you know what I'm saying? The time stays
Mm-hmm.
consistent, but I'm doing more. You get what I'm saying? There shouldn't be a straight balance beam when it comes to consistency and then my output. There's something is going to should change, whether it's my amount of time doing or the amount of work I'm doing. Something should be able to shift. But
There needs to be a growth.
the main thing that has to continue to happen is my consistency. So build consistency, build my discipline, be true to myself, and treat myself as a priority. I'm not going to continue to let myself tell myself this year in and year out, day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. At one point, am I going to be um, dissatisfied to myself to where I'm like, hey, all right, I got to go. I got to do it. I got to leave
Right.
the situation. Until then, until then, we'll have the same exact conversation. But again, if you're that eagle, lead. If you're that parrot, go ahead, keep do what you're good at. If you're that owl,
Mm-hmm.
keep being observant. If you're that dove, keep being that. But understand how great things could be if all four decided to collaborate and your weakness is my strength is your weakness. But I'm going to bring you up and we all go ahead and try to lift this boat up. We're gonna
Fly
be all right.
high.
We're gonna be all right. The circle
Yep.
can be good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want ever to think that the circle is just full of toxic when we talk about these circles. But
Mm-hmm.
it can be toxic. It can become a cage if every single one of those birds see themselves in an individual and looks with that comparison trap or looks at, oh, I should be able to fly high with the eagle, or I should be able to stay up all night and be observant like the owl. And when you start doing that, that's when that circle becomes a cage.
Absolutely. And in order to lead properly, you must have battle scars. You must have battle scars. You gotta know what you're talking about and give the people that you're leading a sense of understanding that you know and that you've been there. You've been down those same roads. So having the overabundance of positivity sometimes will deter them from bringing you those issues, bringing you those problems because you don't understand. You haven't been here before. So it is super critical to make sure that you understand one who you're talking to, who who that type of person is, what kind of bird you speaking to, right? Understand again that experience is going to shape effective leadership. Period. You want to be a great leader, you got to have some experience, and it's got to be forged in real life challenges and real life adversity, like rooted there. Again, leaders that have faced those challenges, outcomes, those are the ones that are able to give their anyone that they're leading a deeper insight and more resilience that they may not know that they had. So that also comes with being authentic. Again, over the facade of positivity, over the perceived positivity that you have. Be the real authentic you and grow through that adversity, grow through your authenticity, grow through that. There's going to be some things, again, like Coach Luna said, that you may not like about yourself. You've called and identified those things, put action behind it at this point. It's great to know, it's even better to grow. Last thing is avoiding the complacency. It's super easy as a positive individual to be super complacent and just, again, hope that everything is going to work out, hope that everything is going to get better, hope that everything is going to just magically go away. But take you back to another this wasn't in the Bible because it was way too new for being the Bible, but I know you heard the story about the man or the woman that was in the water and praying to God to send them help, and a boat came by and he said, "Don't worry, man, God got me."
That's Bruce Almighty.
Yep, there you go. So again, the God got me. Yeah, yeah, you 100% right. God does have you. But we said it earlier in this pod. We said it numerous times on other pods. Faith without works don't work.
Mhm.
Dead. Simple as that. So you have to put the work behind that also. So I think this was a good way to kind of to round out this particular pod. I know this was for some probably like, well, how can you be negative? Like how can that really help you? Again, some of those individuals are really rooted in realism. They're really rooted in what's going on. But just because you're really rooted in what has happened, that doesn't mean just shut all the positivity off at that point, because there could be a lot more in the tank. So I know right now I'm going to go and finish up the You Can't Hurt Me book for the second time. Well, yeah, second and a half time. It was one of those times I did quit halfway through it. That's just
Right.
being honest with myself.
That's all. Hey, that's step one.
100%, yo. 100%. 100%. If you have not gotten that book, it definitely gives you a different perspective, especially if you're a positive individual and you're naturally positive.
And you're not
Anybody
seeing
that knows
results.
what was that?
And you're not seeing the results.
And you're not seeing the result? Yeah, absolutely.
You need
Absolutely.
to keep the part that you're missing is keeping it real.
There it is. There it is. Again, if you like what you heard, hit that like and subscribe button if you want to hear more from the Coach Life fam. Definitely appreciate these merch sales. These merch sales coming up right now, and I know Coach Wash got some shorts that's gonna be dropping real soon. He need to hurry up, man. Winter's around the corner. We live in Chicago up here, so winter's coming real soon. So kind of need them shorts for the snow drop. So again, smack that like subscribe button if you want to hear more. Until the next time, stay positive, my friends.